Hi guys, this is Misty from the Book Rat, and you are watching the next episode of my bookshelf tour. If you are unfamiliar with my bookshelf tour, basically I organize my books by color, which I have already shown you here. And to give you a more in-depth look at what that entails, I'm going shelf by shelf to show you what is in each little color block. Today we are actually taking a break from the color block to take a look at my Jane Austen shelf. So regardless of color, all of my Jane Austen books are in their own little special shelf, and because it is Austen in August, I'm going to show you that. Alright guys, so here is my Jane Austen shelf, and to be honest, there's really no rhyme or reason to it, but I'm going to get right into it. As you see, it's kind of double stacked, so I'm going to pull off the first stack and show you the back first, and then go from there. Alright, so here is the back half of the Jane Austen collection, one of the Pride and Prejudice graphic novels, which is just good fun silliness, frankly. The complete novels of Jane Austen, so I have one bind up, copy number 1 of Pride and Prejudice, which is a pretty old one. I got this at a yard sale from an old lady who was very excited about how excited I was. This is from 1945. One of the cloth-bound editions of Sense and Sensibility, which was a gift from Holly. I will link her channel below. And here is all of my beat-up copies. These are my originals, the ones that have been read many, many times, as you can see. All of these are the Wordsworth editions, except for the one of Persuasion, because they didn't have it. So here is Pride and Prejudice, and it is the most beat up, and I can't bring myself to get rid of it. Here's my copy of Persuasion. This one's a Penguin Classics. There's Emma, Sense and Sensibility, and Northanger Abbey. And I don't have one of Mansfield Park in those editions. Next we have Darcy and Fitzwilliam by Karen Waslowski. I'm just going to go ahead and say now that anything that I've reviewed, which is a good chunk of this but not all of them, will be linked. So I'm not going to go into the reviews of all of these. I don't want this video to be endlessly long, but if I've reviewed it, it will be linked. So there's Darcy and Fitz. Next up is Only Mr. Darcy Will Do by Cara Louise, and I've just realized that I have 2 copies of this. I have an ARC and I have a finished copy, so I'm thinking this one might go in a giveaway. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off so that it can go in a giveaway, and I'll put something else in its place. So let's see, we have room for. We'll put Yours Affectionately, Jane Austen by Sally Smith O'Rourke there. Next is The Darcy Cousins by Monica Fairview. A Weekend with Mr. Darcy by Victoria Connolly. I love this adorable cover. It's so cute. And the story was adorable as well. In fact, I actually wanted to reread this recently, so good enough that it was worth a reread. I haven't reread it yet though, but I mean, good enough that it made me want to. Mr. Darcy and the Secret of Becoming a Gentleman by Maria Hamilton. I love this cover too. A lot of these came from source books because they sent me a box of Jane Austen stuff a couple years ago, and I have to say I love their designs when it comes to the Jane Austen stuff. The Lost Memoirs of Jane Austen by Siri James. I haven't read this one yet, but I've had a number of people recommend it to me. And as you can see, I stack things this way too if they fit better, so I had moved everything off of this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. Wickham's Diary by Amanda Grange. She has a whole series of these really trim little diaries. Miss Bennet and Mr. Bingley by Fenella J. Miller, which obviously explores Jane and Bingley's relationship. What Would Mr. Darcy Do by Abigail Reynolds, which was originally published with a different title, but this is one of her Pride and Prejudice variations, and as always, I love all of these. I Was Jane Austen's Best Friend by Cora Harrison, which I haven't read yet. Pride and Popularity by Jenny James, which I reviewed last year. Pride and Prejudice Hidden Lusts by Mitzi Serrato. I love this cover. It's really pretty. This one is not for the faint of heart. This is a Pride and Prejudice erotica retelling. It's hilarious though, like it's a fun tongue-in-cheek one. Enthusiasm by Polly Schulman, which is a contemporary telling of Pride and Prejudice. Prada and Prejudice by Mandy Hubbard, which again, contemporary telling, only this one is also kind of time slip. The Dashwood Sisters Secrets of Love by Rosie Rushton, which obviously, since it's the Dashwoods, takes on Sense and Sensibility. The Jane Austen Handbook, Proper Life Skills from Regency England by Margaret C. Sullivan, which is super adorable, by the way. If you're a Jane Austen fan, get this. It's a great coffee table book. So now here's the sideways stack. Captain Wentworth's Persuasion by Regina Jeffers, which is Persuasion retold from Captain Wentworth's perspective. Mr. Darcy's Daughters by Elizabeth Aston, which I want to say I read when I first started reading Jane Austen fanfiction, but I don't remember for sure whether that is the case. The Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler, which was made into a movie, which I'm sure many of you Janeites have seen. Who doesn't love Hugh Dancy? Mr. Darcy, Vampire by Amanda Grange. This one was right at the height of all of those retellings like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. This actually might have been the next one to come out, but I have not read this one yet. I think it's a fun idea and I love the cover. There's that second copy of Only Mr. Darcy Will Do. I really did like this, so at least one copy has to stay on the shelves, but the other one will go in a giveaway. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Dawn of the Dreadfuls by Steve Hawkins-Smith, and Dreadfully Ever After. So these are books 2 and 3 in the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies series. They are not written by the same author as PPZ. That was Seth Grahame-Smith, and it was awful. These, however, the storyline was taken over by Steve Hawkins-Smith, and they are much better and very funny. So even if you didn't like PPZ, try these. If you were taken with the idea of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. If you weren't, just don't bother. Persuade Me by Juliet Archer, which is so pretty. It's a retelling of Persuasion, and it's contemporary adult and definitely worth your time. The Truth About Mr. Darcy by Susan Adriani, which I have not read yet, but definitely need to get to soon. Midnight in Austenland by Shannon Hale, because I was a huge fan of Austenland, so when the publicist offered this to me, I was all sorts of hells yeah. So this one takes on Northanger Abbey, which I think is such an underappreciated book, so I was really excited to kind of see that unfold. I wonder if that one will get made into a movie too. Mr. Darcy Goes Overboard by Belinda Roberts, which is a tale of Tide and Prejudice. Yeah. This is just silly good fun. It's just a silly fun romp. That was really redundant, I'm sorry. It's silly good fun, what can I say? Silly, good fun. The Phantom of Pemberley, a Pride and Prejudice murder mystery by Regina Jeffers. And that was the back. Now on to the front. First up is this big beastie. I've shown you this before. It was my birthday present to myself this year, and it is the complete novels in a case. Please don't fall out because you're very heavy. So the case opens out like that. It's magnetic. And these are the books. It's each of the 6 novels in gorgeous hardcover editions with 4-color illustrations inside. They all have flowers on the front and ribbons to keep your page, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful set. Sanditon by Jane Austen and another lady. The other lady being Anne Telescombe or Marie Dobbs. She goes by both names. This is Jane Austen's unfinished novel completed, and is probably one of my favorite retellings. Ostensibly Ordinary by Alyssa Goodnight. I reviewed this at the beginning of this year for the 200th anniversary of Pride and Prejudice, and I absolutely adored this. It was so, so fun. Love this cover too, it's so cute. A cloth-bound edition of Pride and Prejudice because, oh, it's so pretty. This one was a gift too. So pretty. Epic Fail by Claire Lizebnik, which I am doing a video review of for this year's Austen in August, so you can find out all about what I thought about that one when that goes up. Impulse and Initiative by Abigail Reynolds, which was one of the first retellings that I ever read. I react much differently to it now that I'm used to fanfiction. I didn't like it originally, I do like it now. There Must Be Murder by Margaret C. Sullivan, which is a novella continuation of Northanger Abbey. I love the cover design. First Impressions and Second Glances by Alexa Adams. These are part of the A Tale of Less Pride and Prejudice Continues series, and are both novellas and both just lighthearted fun. Jane Austen Ruined My Life by Beth Patillo, which is an adult contemporary retelling. Sort of retelling, but more just homage, I guess, to Jane Austen and the fandom in general. Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy, The Last Man in the World by Abigail Reynolds, which, if you followed me for any length of time, you have probably seen before because I read it like 4 times last year. Just kept rereading it and craving it. Kinda love this book. Spies and Prejudice by Talia Vance, which is another one that I'm doing a video review of. So this is a contemporary YA retelling that kind of mashes up Pride and Prejudice with the sort of spy world of Veronica Mars. So if you're curious about that one, make sure you check out my video review. For Darkness Shows the Stars by Diana Peterfriend, which is definitely one of the more interesting retellings that I have. It is a futuristic dystopian retelling of Persuasion. Yeah. one of the more creative of the batch and really enjoyable. I definitely liked it. And the sequel to this book, Across the Star-Swept Sea, is also a retelling, but not of Jane Austen. It takes on the Scarlet Pimpernel. It's such a fun, interesting series. I have another copy of the Jane Austen handbook because they accidentally sent me a second copy. So this one will also be going in a giveaway. Among the Janeites by Deborah Yaffe. This is a non-fiction look at the world of Jane Austen fandom with the cutest freaking cover. I love it. I love the back design. Just great all around. And probably a needed book for any true diehard Janeite, because obviously the book is about us. My Pride and Prejudice book box by a lady, because that's how they were published. This was made by me, guys. The first couple Jane and Junes, I did a Regency Ladies survival kit, so I would make a book box and fill the inside of it with little Jane Austen-y treats. Unfortunately, the manufacturer of the wooden boxes stopped manufacturing them, so I didn't end up making one last year. I have cardboard ones now, but they're just not the same, so I haven't made one in a while. But I don't have anything in my book box, but that is my P&P book box. And then the rest of the shelf is movies. So I have Becoming Jane, which I think my mom bought me, and that's kind of funny because she normally doesn't ever pay attention to things that I'm obsessed with. You know, she doesn't really get it. So the fact that she would have bought me Jane Austen is impressive. I have to hand it to her. Persuasion. This is the Amanda Root, Kieran Hines version, which was like 1996 or something like that, and that one was a gift from Liz. And the glorious BBC version of Pride and Prejudice. Of course, this is the one that everybody knows and everybody thinks of. This one was a gift from Tim, and I make frequent use of it, so thank you, Tim. I do have more Jane Austen movies, but most of them are digital. I do have other random bits of Jane Austen geekery, like my Pride and Prejudice book necklace that I made from a charm my friend Sam gave me, as well as my Jane Austen action figure. So she has a little Ewok friend. We'll just move him to the side. So she resides in one of the boxes on my wall behind me, so you guys see her all the time even if you don't realize it. But it's a little Jane figure, and it comes with her writing desk and a copy of Pride and Prejudice. So I definitely forgot some. I knew something didn't feel right. So also on this shelf normally, but they were pulled off for various reasons, I have The Road to Pemberley, which is a short story anthology, and Jane Austen Made Me Do It, which is also a short story anthology by all these various people. And they're super fun. Sass and Serendipity by Jennifer Ziegler, which is a contemporary YA retelling of Sense and Sensibility, and The Man Who Loved Pride and Prejudice by Abigail Reynolds, which is an adult contemporary retelling. Or maybe not so much a retelling, I don't know, I haven't read this one. It might just be kind of a tribute to Jane. Okay, so now that really is all. Found one more that was supposed to be on the shelf, but had somehow been taken off and put on a different shelf, and that was Murder at Mansfield Park by Lynn Shepherd, which I love this cover. This is the UK cover, and I also love the US cover. It takes on Mansfield Park in really interesting ways, kind of takes care of some of those characters that have always bothered us, so definitely an interesting one to look into, and it will now go back on the shelf that it belongs on. Alright, so that was my Jane Austen collection. Extensive, I know, and it is quickly outgrowing its shelf, but still not extensive enough. There's plenty more out there for me to pick up. Let me know what you think of the books that I have on the Jane Austen shelf, and if there are any that you love that you think definitely need to be added, definitely let me know in the comments. As with every bookshelf tour, I definitely encourage you to make a response with your own Jane Austen collection if you have one. That is all for this episode of the bookshelf tour. More will be coming soon, I promise. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy reading. Only Misty, really?